All right, welcome to Problem Solver Politics. I'm your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And we just got, literally while we were recording our last video, the DNC announced all of the requirements for the fifth debate. And the big question is, what are they and how does it affect Andrew Yang? Will he qualify? Cody, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of complaints about the first couple periods of how they explain stuff. Tulsi Gabbard, for example, had multiple polls that, like, you wonder why they don't count, but they don't. So,
Yeah.
along with the, and I'm over here just on Democrats.org right now, but as well as them announcing the new requirements, they also do a pretty good job of kind of clarifying them a little better. So we have a better idea of understanding which ones to look for. Without further ado, how much did they actually increase it? Well, this is what they're going to do. So now to qualify for the November debate, remember, October debate is the exact same qualification period as September. So anybody at September is for sure at October, and there's still a chance to make October. We're talking November now. So to qualify for the November debate, candidates must meet one of two polling requirements, the polling threshold and the unique donor requirement, the grassroots funding threshold. I believe the unique donor requirement is 165,000 unique donors, and then 600 donors per state in at least 20 states, and everything else remains the same. But they bumped it up from, I believe, 130 to 160, so not a very large of an increase, and that's kind of been the easier one for candidates. However, we get to the polls now.
Yeah.
So there's two different polling thresholds. One, the 4-poll threshold, so receive 3% or more in at least 4 polls, which may be national or single state polls in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and or Nevada. So Nevada is just included this time. Meeting the qualifying poll criteria described below. And to meet the 4-poll threshold, each one of candidates' 4 qualifying polls must be sponsored by different qualifying poll sponsors, or if by the same sponsor in different geographical areas. I think that was the same as last time. I think it must have been
That was
changed
kind of similar before, but we had the problem of, does an NBC/Wall Street Journal poll count as an NBC poll or just a Wall Street Journal poll, or are now both untouchable? So is that question answered?
A little bit of this, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Awesome.
They heard people complain. And they also added what is called early state polling threshold this time, though, which is a little bit interesting. Basically, if you have 5% or more in 2 single state polls in either Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, or Nevada, that will basically count for having all 4 polls. That is going to help some candidates. I don't know who's going to help top of my head quite yet. Now, however, they mentioned, so for a poll to be counted, it has to be one of the following 15 entities or pairs of entities. They no longer say conducted by. No, they actually mention. So Associated Press, ABC, ABC News/Washington Post, CBS News and YouGov, CNN, Des Moines Register, Fox News, Monmouth University, NPR, NBC News and Wall Street Journal, NBC News and Marist, New York Times, Quinnipiac, University of New Hampshire, USA Today/Suffolk, Winthrop University. Wait, does that mean...
Is Fox News on there?
I don't... Yeah, Fox News, sorry.
Okay,
because they're one of the major... No.
They threw one in there.
No, what was interesting, though, was, remember I believe the Andrew Yang controversy was he had a Wall Street Journal, and then he had an NBC News/Wall... No.
But one of the polls was an NBC/WSJ, so an NBC
versus...
Not versus, but...
Versus.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, exactly. So I think that's been cleared up. That can no longer happen with the new rules.
Okay.
The DNC reserves the right to add a Nevada-specific poll sponsor to the list in the near future. I don't know why they haven't yet, but they've been saying that every single time. And then each poll must be publicly released between September 13th, 2019. So obviously,
this is my only...
And then 5 days before the debate, sorry. And then each polling result must be the top line number listed in the original public release from the approved qualifying poll sponsor, whether or not it is rounded or a weighted number.
Now, this is my only frustration with the DNC on this, okay? And, okay, so they basically pick their friends or the institutions that Gen Xers are familiar with, okay?
Which ones are they missing?
No. I'm not saying they're... Well, I'll tell you exactly who they're missing. And also, this is just maybe just a criticism of the system. Just like there's been a really good criticism saying, hey, why do we only let mainstream broadcast media outlets into the White House press briefings? Why don't we have, like...
Hold on, sorry. One last thing I want to get out before we get... Without further ado, according to the Yang campaign, they have qualified for the debate. I don't want to bury that. Without further ado, according to the Andrew Yang campaign, the DNC has set 3% in 4 polls of qualifications for the November debate, as well as 165 donors. We have the donors and have in the polls. We will be there, according to the Yang campaign. So I just want to get that out.
So I'll tell you this right now. Instead of saying, oh, we're going to accept an NBC poll, because, dude, there's NBC polls that suck. There's NBC polls that misled the American public into thinking that Hillary Clinton was going to win because their methodologies are bad. Why doesn't the DNC do something better and just say, okay, look, we're not going to sprinkle holy water on any institution because it's not the institution that makes the survey good. It's the methodologies. Because, for example, could not Twitter... What if Twitter just said, hey, we want to get in the game of polling, and we've got a platform that is plugged in to literally hundreds of millions of people. If there is any organization that is best equipped to start predicting things and give people good information, instead of just giving it for our advertisers and corrupt corporations, we're also going to give data, and we're going to start polling, and it'll be voluntary, and it won't be involuntary.
There are some guidelines.
Well, but hold on. Twitter's not on there. And I'm not trying to be some corporatist. It's not on their list, right? But if they could show a methodology saying, look, instead of you guys, most of these most of these phone-based, most of these polls are done on landlines and some cell phones of high propensity voters, in which, you know, they poll maybe 1,000 people with a margin of error anywhere between 3 and 8%. Okay. But why can't like Twitter come out and just say, hey, we're going to do a 1 million person poll nationwide that's going to last 1 week. And to show validation that you're an actual voter, you just have to take a picture of, I don't know, maybe X, Y, Z. They would come up with some criteria so that we could get awesome data, and so that other organizations would want to get and participate in the polling game as well.
Because you have to have an actual polling organization on some level. It can't just be, because then, according to this poll from 500,000 Facebook users, like,
well, no, and Facebook.
Well,
would
also,
trend.
you want to know why? You want to know why they won't do that? Want to know why they don't do that? How many people signed up to storm Area 51? Do you remember? On Facebook, how many people signed up?
Yeah, but
do you remember?
Well, you might be following the page or signing up just because you want to get updates and you don't actually seriously think you're going to do it. It's like how many people sign up for Ashley Madison and don't actually have an affair.
My idea is there's literally millions of people, I believe, right?
Yeah, millions.
Something in the dozens showed up.
And weren't they like all skaters?
They're just people, probably most of it. People came to say mostly dozens to hundreds showed up.
Okay.
So that's one of the main reasons why. Is because they know, man. Like, you spread something out to two. There's a reason why you think these polls can't do a 5,000 person sample size poll. They can't do it, or do you think they just realize at a certain point you get diminishing returns?
No, but
there's got to be some method to the madness, man. It can't just be we do it the way we do it.
Come on, do you think I'm really suggesting that it's just this chaos thing? No,
what I'm saying is that is their reluctance. I'm just giving you their perspective.
Okay, look,
the other perspective is sometimes those polls are not exactly 100% accurate because people will vote for reasons in the poll they won't vote for otherwise.
This is my problem with it. By having this list, you're basically saying, we believe polls done by Johnny, Stacy, Earl, Frank, and Harris.
This has like 20 plus different organizations, I think, total.
Sure, that's fine. But to me, it's the methodology that makes a poll good, not the institution.
They do reference. They say each poll's candidate's support question must have been conducted by reading or presenting a list of Democratic presidential primary candidates or to respondents. Poll questions using an open-ended or unaided question to gauge presidential primary support will not count. So no leading. They're not allowed to do. So if you had to pick one person running for 2020 who you think would be good on healthcare, who would you pick? Take all the names together and say, wow, Elizabeth Warren's when leading in this poll. So you can't do stuff like that anymore. You have to point blank ask, here's the list of people, pick one. So I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying they did address that a little bit. Your concerns are valid. I'm just saying that there was some they addressed it a little bit. So there we go. That's the main things they changed with the thing. They're a little more clear on exactly who's going to count for polls and who isn't. And I mean, it's a pretty good mix, man. I mean, you got ABC, CNN, NPR, Fox, Quinnipiac University of New Hampshire, the Des Moines Register. It's a pretty decent mixture of polls.
Look, I'll tell you this right now.
If it was, we're only going to count polls from Rachel Maddow on MSNBC and Don Lemon, and then there are poll conductors, and I'd be like, hold on a minute, man, what are you talking about? But what, like 17, 18 unique organizations from college universities to media outlets to polling institutions. I think that's okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's okay. It can, of course, be better, but it doesn't strike me as, holy cow, what are they thinking? And just one last thing, according to, so like I said, Andrew Yang, according to the campaign, will be at the debates now, or the fifth debate and the fourth debate, hit all qualifications. And I believe if we were to look, I believe it's in this article, I want to pull up for you guys very quickly. They go through who else is already in. So these polling standards mean that Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, and Mayor Pete all as well have qualified for the fifth debate. It's really going to be, can like Tulsi and I think Tom Steyer really be those outsiders who keep the momentum up? And then can Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, and Cory Booker keep up and kind of keep their heads above water? But it looks like for right now, Andrew Yang's done it. He is once again the Yang Gang. He's going to be at 5 debate stages, man. At a certain point, man, like early video we posted earlier today, or actually probably later today when you guys see this, about the woman accusing Andrew Yang of firing her inappropriately.
Yeah.
I mean, you noticed just the way that she was like, when is this guy going to drop out already? Well, he's going to be in the debate stage 2 months from now. So
that kind of stuff.
He's not dropping out anytime soon. I just think this is a really good sign for the Andrew Yang campaign. And I know you don't love it, but I do think it is for sure a step in the right direction. For the,
I'm not
DNC.
saying I don't love it. Okay, no, you're right. I don't love it
it's not
because
perfect,
I'm not a fanboy.
But step in the right direction.
It is exactly. I view this as an improvement. I mean, I'm totally there with Tulsi Gabbard when she said that the DNC lacks transparency on these debate issues. Okay, so yes, I'm glad that they cleared some things out. I still think it's reflective of a massive generational gap that exists at the head of our political parties and the head of our media enterprises that is not reflective of the population as a whole. Does that make sense? The absolute faith they put in the list of those 20 organizations.
Well, it's not absolute faith.
They're basing their entire debate structure on it.
That's why they picked 15.
Fine, not absolute faith, but
20.
The inordinate amount of faith put in those 20 organizations who, if we were to look up their aggregate average of predictability of Donald Trump's success, would be below 50%.
Well, I would say it's foolish.
Yeah, exactly. So literally, if we were to look at every single one of those organizations and say, what betting odds did they give Donald Trump of success, or by what portion of victory did they say Hillary Clinton would win? I guarantee you we would see that the vast majority of those organizations mispredicted Donald Trump's success, which shows that their methodologies are at best unpredictable, at worst outdated. And so I really think that the debate criteria needs to be a criteria not of organizations, but a criteria of methodology. Does that make sense?
It does. I probably couldn't propose a better solution. I think you get 15, 20 organizations, you get them together, and you say if you get a certain percentage in a couple of these spread across multiple different states, and I think there's enough qualifiers in there. And the bigger thing is they're just more clear about what you actually need this time than they were before. I think the clarity is very much important.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I think you both agree this is a step in the right direction, still imperfect. Andrew Yang qualifies, which is the big takeaway from this for the Yang Gang. If you guys have any additional information, or any additional information comes out that we need to make a video about, please make sure you reach out to us on Twitter. We're PSP Radio 1 on Twitter. You can check out the link in the description if you want to contribute to the channel. We got a PayPal link in the description as well. We're going to be streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. If you guys want to pick up a hat, make sure you check out problemsolverpolitics.com and get a hat there. And if you guys got Amazon Prime, you can give us one free sub on Twitch and contribute to the channel that way by subscribing to us on Twitch as well. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Thanks for always participating in the chat, watching our videos. If you haven't liked it, like. If you haven't shared yet, share it. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. This is Problem Solver Politics. We will see you guys in the next